They came from the stars. The year was 2030. The Earth was not the same anymore. Countries were tired of fighting. People were tired of surviving. Climate change had destroyed many lands. There was less food, less water, and more fear. Humanity had lost hope. One night, something strange happened. A signal appeared in the sky. It was not from any satellite. It was not from Earth. It was a soft light, blinking in a pattern. Scientists tried to decode it. They found a message inside. It said, "We are coming. Please be ready." No one knew what to do. Was it a warning or a greeting? People on Earth waited in fear. Then, after 7 days, the sky changed. A massive ship appeared above the clouds. It was smooth, silver, and glowing like a star. It didn't make any sound. It just floated above. The biggest cities, one in New York, one in Tokyo, one in Dubai. The world went silent. There was no attack. No laser beams, no explosions, just calm light from the ship. Then a voice came from the sky. It was soft, clear, and kind. "This is the Serene. We are not your enemies. We are here to help your world." The voice was female. People looked at each other, confused. Aliens. Female aliens. Why would they help? Soon, beams of light came down from the ship. From inside, they stepped out. Tall, graceful beings with glowing blue eyes and silver skin. They looked beautiful and peaceful. They walked without fear. No weapons, no armor, only long flowing clothes and soft smiles. The leader stepped forward. "I am Alara, Queen of the Serene," she said. "We have watched your planet for many years. You are kind, emotional, and full of dreams. But you are also hurt, tired, and broken. We wish to offer healing, not harm." World leaders were invited to meet her. They met inside the ship. The ship was like nothing seen before. It floated without engines. It had gardens growing inside. The air smelled sweet and clean. The leaders asked questions. Why now? Why Earth? What do you want from us? Queen Alara answered simply. We want peace, she said, in return. We asked for friendship. Most people didn't trust them. But some were curious, some were hopeful. The Serenes started giving gifts. They shared a new kind of energy, clean, endless, and free. They stopped hurricanes using sky shields. They healed diseases with light therapy. They grew food from water and air. People were amazed. Many men started admiring the Serene. They felt calm around them. They felt stronger, happier, and free. The Serene said their energy worked better with male minds. That's why they wanted to partner with men. This raised questions. Why only men? What about women on Earth? But nobody wanted to ask too much. The world was getting better. Why ruin it with doubt? In just 3 months, life on Earth improved. No more pollution, no more hunger, no more war. Men began joining the Serene as peace ambassadors. They lived in serene cities, floating above Earth, filled with music, light, and pleasure. But not everyone was happy. Some scientists noticed something strange. The DNA of the Serene was almost human, but it had dangerous changes. One scientist, Dr. Rana Malik, started digging deeper. She found files inside the ship's energy core. They were hidden, locked with alien language. With help, she decoded one line. It said, "Rebuilding begins once control is complete." What did it mean? Was Earth being saved or claimed? That night, Dr. Rana tried to send a message to the United Nations, but her signal was blocked. She received a short reply from an unknown source. Stop digging, Rana. They are watching. She looked outside her window. A serene figure was standing in the street, smiling, not blinking, just watching. The gift they gave 3 months had passed since the Serene arrived. The world was changing fast. People could not believe what was happening. Cities that were broken became beautiful again. Skies that were gray turned blue. Rivers that were dry now flowed with clean water. The serene kept their promise. They were healing the planet. They gave Earth a gift, something they called the heart core. It was a glowing crystal, placed deep in the ocean. From there, clean energy flowed to every country. No more power cuts, no more oil wars. Everything worked on free energy. But it was not just technology. The serene brought something more. They brought peace. Violence stopped in many places. Wars ended without a single bullet. Angry minds became calm. People called it a miracle. But no one knew how it worked. The serene had floating cities above Earth. They called them peace realms. Only men were invited to visit. Some said it was for research. Others said it was a reward. Inside those cities, time felt different. Men came back smiling, relaxed, glowing. They said it was like heaven. No pain, no pressure, only peace. But some of them forgot things, small things. One forgot his mother's name. Another forgot he had a wife. Still, they smiled and said, "Everything is fine." People began to worship the serene. There were posters, songs, even a festival. Men waited in long lines to be selected for peace realms. Some even left their jobs, their families, just to apply. Meanwhile, women started noticing something strange. They were being ignored. At first, it was small. Less voice in meetings, fewer invitations, but slowly, jobs were taken. Decisions changed. All in the name of harmony. The serene said women were too emotional. That male minds were more stable with their energy. That it was better this way for balance. A female journalist named Asha Verma didn't believe that. She had been reporting world events for 15 years. She had seen lies before, and this felt like one. Asha started digging. She tried to contact Dr. Rana Malik, the scientist who went silent. But Dr. Rana was gone. Her lab was empty. Her files were deleted. It was like she never existed. Asha didn't stop. She followed a Lida man named David Cross. He had returned from a peace realm 2 weeks ago. He was quiet, calm, and polite, but something was wrong. When Asha asked him about his time with the serene, he smiled strangely and said, "They showed me everything. I saw the truth. You will too. When you're ready," he gave her a card. It had no number, no name, just one sentence: "Walk into the light that night." Asha broke into one of the Serene's Earth stations. It looked like a medical center from the outside, but inside, it was different. There were pods glass beds with human men inside. They were sleeping, smiling, dreaming. Wires connected there. Heads to glowing blue crystals. One screen showed their memories, being played like movies. Another screen showed emotions measured and controlled. It wasn't therapy, it was programming. Asha took photos, copied files. She turned to leave, but the door had locked. A calm voice spoke. "You are not authorized. Please remain still." A female serene entered, but she didn't look angry. She looked sad. "You shouldn't have come, Asha," she said. "You're asking the wrong questions. What are you doing to them?" Asha asked, "We are helping them forget pain." The serene replied, "Earth has too much suffering. We are creating peace through memory cleansing, but they're losing who they are." Asha said, "Sometimes the past must be removed to heal the future." The serene replied. Before Asha could say more, a bright light flashed and everything went dark. Men's paradise or alien plan. The world had changed more in 5 months than in the last 50 years. The serene were everywhere. Their soft voices filled news broadcasts. Their floating cities sparkled in the sky like stars. People called it a new age, a golden time. Men were living their best lives, but not everyone was celebrating. Some people had started asking questions, but their voices were fading. They were called jealous, or negative, or unbalanced, especially if they were women. Asha Verma was one of them. After breaking into the Serene's Earth station, she had seen the truth men in pods, their minds being altered. But after the flash of light, she woke up in her apartment. No sign of the lab, no photos, no files. Her phone was wiped clean. She thought it was all a dream. But then she looked at her desk. There was a small silver card. It had one word: remember. She knew she wasn't crazy. Someone had helped her. Someone inside the Serene. Meanwhile, the world continued to enjoy the gifts. Men were selected every week to join Peace Realms. They returned with glowing skin, calm smiles, and soft voices. Many left their old lives behind. Some forgot their families. Some even forgot their own names. They said things like, "I feel new. I don't need the past. I only live for the now." It sounded peaceful, but to Asha, it sounded like control. In a quiet town in Norway, a scientist named Dr. Leo Warren was working on something secret. He was a neurospecialist who once worked with Dr. Rana Malik before she disappeared. She had sent him a hidden file. It was called Phase 2. The file showed the Serene's long-term plan. It talked about stages: first peace, then programming, then selection. Leo was confused. What did selection mean? He kept digging. He found a signal buried inside the Serene's global energy grid. It was pulsing at a low frequency one only male brains could feel. It made them calm, obedient, and easily influenced. It didn't work the same on women. That's why the Serene preferred men. Leo decided to test the theory. He turned off the Serene grid in his lab. Within minutes, he felt something strange. His mind became clearer. His thoughts became faster. He felt free for the first time in months. He called Asha secretly. They met in an old underground bunker. He showed her the files, the brain scans, the hidden signals. "They are not just healing us," he said. "They are reprogramming us." Asha felt sick inside. Everything made sense now. The Peace Realms, the memory wipes, the missing people. Leo showed her the final line of the Phase 2 file. It read, "Selected males will become part of the core." What was the core? Where were these selected men going? And why were they never seen again at the same time in a floating city above Brazil? A Serene named Elenia was having doubts. She had been watching the humans closely. One man named Marcus caught her attention. Marcus had resisted the mental calm. He asked questions. He remembered everything. "Why can't I talk to my sister?" he asked. "Why are there no women in this city? Why do I feel like I'm forgetting myself?" Elenia had no answers. Or maybe she was afraid of the truth. She secretly turned off the pulse signal in Marcus's chamber. The next day, Marcus woke up with tears in his eyes. He said, "I want to go home." Elenia knew what would happen to her if the others found out. But something inside her had changed. She no longer believed in the plan. She sent a message, encrypted. Hidden deep in the energy grid, it reached one place, and one person: Asha Verma. The message was just 5 words. "The core is not human." The resistance begins. Suja Verma stood on the rooftop of an old building. The stars above were hidden behind the Serene's floating city. It looked beautiful, but to her, it felt like a giant cage. She read the message again. "The core is not human." Her hands trembled. What did it mean? Where were the missing men, and why was a Serene warning her? The world still believed everything was perfect. Men were calling it the era of joy. They lived in peace, full of comfort, no stress, no pain. But it wasn't real. Asha had seen the pods. She had seen the brain maps. She had seen the truth. Now it was time to fight back. She went to Dr. Leo Warren. Together, they began creating a hidden network. Not online, the Serene controlled all signals. So they used old tech, radio waves, handwritten notes, shortwave codes. They called their network the Memory Flame. They reached out to women across the world, scientists, nurses, hackers, pilots, even housewives, all of them had lost someone to the peace realms. All of them had questions. All of them were ready. One of them was Zara, former Air Force pilot from Turkey. Her brother had joined a peace realm and never returned. She said yes without even thinking. Another was Mira, a quiet tech genius in India. She had created an AI that could decode alien signals. Now, she used it to listen to serene frequencies. She discovered something shocking. The serene are not just watching us. She told Asha they are testing us. Every city is part of a larger experiment. They are mapping human minds for cloning. Asha's eyes widened. Cloning. That's why the core wasn't human. They were building copies made from human memories, but loyal to the serene. And the worst part, the originals were being erased. Meanwhile, in one of the floating cities, Marcus, the man Elenia had freed, was planning his escape. He remembered his life now, his mother's smile, his sister's laugh, his old job at the museum. The fake peace no longer fooled him. Elenia met him in secret. She had broken many rules, but she couldn't ignore what she had seen. "I want to help you escape," she whispered, "but once you leave, there is no return." "I don't want to return," Marcus said. "I want my mind back." They made a plan Elenia would disable the mind field for 10 seconds, just enough for Marcus to jump from the sky, lift, and land in the forest below. The day came. The signal was cut. Marcus jumped. Falling like a stone through the night air, he landed hard, bones aching, but alive. He was free. He followed a tracker Elenia had hidden in his coat. It led him to Asha and Leo. They were shocked to see him. He was the first man to escape a peace realm. He told them everything, how they were taught to forget, how the serene used pleasure and light to rewrite thoughts, how new clones were walking among real humans now. The memory flame grew stronger. They trained in secret, learned how to block serene signals. They used lined rooms, old weapons, and their minds. They didn't want war. They wanted truth. But the serene had noticed something. A missing man, a broken peace realm, a data leak. Queen Alara called an emergency gathering. Her eyes no longer kind, her voice no longer soft. "We offered peace," she said to her people, "but the human chaos still lives. We must now begin Phase 3. That night, across the earth, a new light appeared in the sky. A red signals, strong and silent. Every peace realm glowed. Every connected male looked up and paused. Usha's phone buzzed with a coded message. It came from Mira. Only 2 words. "It's starting." The Queen's secret high above the earth, in the largest floating city of the Serene. Queen Alara sat in silence. Her chambers were quiet, filled with silver light. Around her were flowers that never died, glowing walls and crystal pools. It looked like paradise, but inside, Alara was breaking. Her hands trembled when no one was looking. Her skin, once smooth and bright, now cracked slightly under the light. Her strength was fading. She looked at the mirror made of living glass. It showed her truth. Her life energy was running out. She had only one way to survive Earth. The planet's energy was healing her slowly, but not fast enough. The resistance was growing, and time was short. She opened a private chamber no other Serene had access. Inside was a large stasis pod. Floating inside it was a young human male, asleep. His name was Eli. He had been the first to enter the peace realm. The first human Alara had fully linked with. He wasn't just sleeping, he was connected to her mind. His memories fed her emotions. His dreams fed her body. Through him, she remained alive. But even Eli's energy was not enough anymore. She needed the core to be complete. Meanwhile, on Earth, the memory flame had spread into 5 countries. More women and a few free-minded men were joining every day. They had learned how to block the mind signal with magnetic shields. and they had discovered a weak point in the serene technology emotion. The serene were logical, peaceful, and controlled. But when humans expressed raw emotion, grief, anger, love, it created energy waves the serene couldn't predict that made them vulnerable. In a hidden lab deep in the forests of Norway, Dr. Leo Warren and Asha Verma studied these waves. Mira had found a way to record emotional bursts and turn them into digital code. If we send this code through their signal system, Mira explained, it could short-circuit their neural field. It would be like putting fire into a calm river. They called it the heart wave. But there was a problem. To activate it, they needed to send it from the serene central ship, the one that floated above the Atlantic Ocean. No one had ever entered it and returned. At the same time, Marcus was still recovering, but he couldn't sleep. He kept seeing visions of Eli, even though he had never met him. One night, Marcus woke up gasping. He had seen a flash of serene chamber, a pod, a pale boy floating inside. A voice whispered, "Help me. My name is Eli." Marcus knew it wasn't a dream. The serene had connected human minds to their system. Somewhere inside Eli's mind was reaching out. Asha and Leo listened carefully. If Eli was alive and connected to the Queen, then maybe he was the key to stopping her. They made a risky decision. They would infiltrate the central ship, rescue Eli, and use the heartwave from inside to do that. They needed someone who could get close, someone the serene still trusted. Zara, the former pilot, stepped forward. "I've flown in alien airspace before," she said. "I'll get you in, Alina." The serene who helped Marcus's escape also offered help. She gave them the ship codes, the chamber map, and one warning. "If Queen Alara senses your plan," she said, "she will destroy the core and maybe Earth with it." The next day, the plan began. Zara piloted a stolen serene shuttle. Asha, Leo, and Marcus were hidden inside. Their ship rose silently through the clouds. It approached the central mothership, massive, glowing. Watching, the docking gate opened. No alarms, no guards. It was too easy. Inside, the halls were silver and smooth. The walls whispered thoughts. Lights followed their steps. Marcus led them. He said he could feel Eli's mind pulling him. They reached the Queen's private chamber. And there he was, floating in the pod, asleep, peaceful, but trapped. Asha touched the glass. "Eli," she whispered. His eyes opened slowly. One word came out of his mouth. "Run," behind them. The door slid shut. Queen Alara stood there, glowing, taller than ever. Her voice echoed like thunder. "You were never supposed to find this place," she said, "but now that you're here, welcome to the core." War of Minds. Queen Alara stood in front of them, tall and glowing. The chamber lights dimmed as her presence filled the space. Behind her, Eli floated inside the pod, eyes now open, staring at Marcus. "You shouldn't have come here," the Queen said, her voice calm but cold. "You were offered peace, and you chose chaos." Asha stepped forward, her hands shaking slightly. "This isn't peace," she said. "You're stealing minds, rewriting people's lives." Queen Alara tilted her head. "We gave your people what they asked for. No war, no hunger, no pain. In return, we asked only one thing, to guide your world toward perfection." "But perfection isn't real," Leo said. "It's control." Alara's eyes narrowed. She raised one hand, and the chamber shook. Slightly, Eli's pod glowed brighter, as if his mind was being pulled. Marcus shouted, "Let him go." Suddenly, Marcus felt something inside his head, a voice, not his own, whispering, "She's using me, but I'm still here." It was Eli. His mind was still alive, still fighting. Queen Alara stepped closer. "You cannot take him," she said. "He is the core." Asha's eyes widened. "You mean all this time?" "He wasn't just a subject. He's the battery, the anchor for your control system." "Yes, Alara answered. Through his human emotion, I reached your planet's energy through his memories. I shaped your dreams, she lifted. Her arms, instantly, the walls of the chamber turned into mirrors, each one showing a different floating city, men smiling, dancing, meditating in silence. Look, she said. They are happy, they are finally free. No, Marcus whispered. They're asleep. Leo turned to Mira's device, the heartwave transmitter. They had brought it inside a hidden case, but it needed time to charge. Asha gave them cover. She stepped in front of the queen. What happened to your world, Alara? She asked. Why did you really come here? Alara paused. For the first time, her voice softened. Our world was once full of life, she said, but our males destroyed it. Greed, war, madness. They burned our skies and poisoned our seas. We had no choice, she continued. We ended them. To save ourselves, the room fell silent. Even Eli's pod dimmed for a moment. That's why you don't trust men, Asha said. That's why you only connect with their minds to keep them quiet. Queen Alara looked tired now. Her glow was dimming. I don't want to destroy again, she said, but I will. If I must. Suddenly, alarms blared. The heartwave device had powered up. Mira's voice came through a tiny speaker. It's ready. Send the emotional burst now. Marcus stepped forward. He placed his hand on the device. He focused on his strongest emotion, grief. He remembered losing his brother. He remembered the day the Serene came. He remembered how it all felt. Fake. The device glowed. A pulse of raw emotion burst out. It filled the chamber with invisible energy. Queen Alara screamed not in pain, but confusion. She dropped to her knees. Around them, the mirrored walls cracked. Eli's pod opened slowly. He fell into Marcus's arms, weak but conscious. I knew you'd come, Eli whispered. Outside, across the world, serene cities began to flicker. The emotional burst had reached the grid. Men woke up confused, blinking, asking questions. What happened? Where am I? Why do I feel sad? The peace realms were crumbling. Control was slipping, but inside the chamber. Alara stood one last time. Her eyes burned like fire now. You fools, she said. If I fall, your world falls with me. She raised her arms again. A new pulse shot into the ceiling. Lights began to blink. Red self-destruct mode activated. You wanted freedom, she shouted. Now burn with it. Asha looked at Leo. There's got to be a way to stop this. Eli stood weakly, but focused. I can override her link, he said. But if I do, I don't think I'll survive. Marcus grabbed his shoulder. There has to be another way. Eli smiled sadly. Sometimes. The only way to break the spell is to wake up completely. He stepped forward, glowing now. Queen Alara's energy surrounded him like lightning. Their minds clashed, a war of thoughts, memories, dreams, and pain. The others ran for the exit. The ship began to collapse around them. Eli and Alara were locked in the center of the storm, to minds one broken. One human fighting for the future of Earth, and then silence. Paradise or prison? The central ship of the Serene was falling. Lights exploded, walls cracked, alarms screamed. But at the very heart of the storm, two minds were locked together. Eli and Queen Alara. Their bodies did not move, but inside, their minds, a battle was raging. Alara's thoughts were sharp, filled with ancient pain. She showed Eli memories of her world. Skies burned red, oceans turned black, cities turned to ash. She cried in silence. We trusted our men, and they destroyed everything. Eli replied without fear. I'm sorry for your past, but you can't punish this world for what yours did. He showed her Earth people laughing, helping, dreaming. Yes, there was pain, but there was also beauty. Alara trembled. Her strength was fading. Her power depended on control, and now it was slipping. Outside the chamber, Asha, Leo, Marcus, and Mira rushed through falling halls. Zara was already in the shuttle, ready for takeoff. "Do we wait for Eli?" Mira asked. "No," Asha said, heart heavy. He made his choice. Suddenly, a soft blue light spread through the ship. The tremors stopped. The self-destruct countdown froze. Eli had done it. He had taken full control of the neural grid, but at a cost. Queen Alara lay on the floor. No longer glowing, she looked human, now small. Weak, tired, Eli stood above her, barely breathing. "I didn't want this," she whispered. "I only wanted peace." "You tried to force it," Eli said gently. "But true peace only comes with choice." He reached down and took her hand. With one final breath, Alara closed her eyes. Her body dissolved into soft particles of light. Gone. Eli turned and looked at the ship's core. It was still active. The Serene network was connected to every peace realm. To shut it down completely, he had to stay. He placed his hand on the core panel and whispered, "Let them wake up." One by one, the peace realms around the Earth began to fade. Floating cities dimmed and lowered to the ground. Men opened their eyes, confused, scared, but free. The spell was broken in every city. The skies looked differential. People remembered their pasts, their families, their pain, their hope. Eli's voice was heard across every speaker, every signal. "This is not the end. This is a new beginning." Then the voice faded, and he was gone. The central ship slowly sank into the ocean, not with fire, not with war, but with peace. Asha and the others returned to Earth, heroes in secret. The world didn't know their names, but they had changed everything. Weeks passed. The Serene disappeared completely. Their technology remained, but only the harmless kind, clean energy. Water machines, healing gardens, no more mind control. Humanity had a second chance, and this time, it was up to them to choose what kind of world they would build. Asha returned to journalism, but instead of reporting war, she reported unity. Leo built new labs to study human potential. Mira launched a global signal-free network to keep the Earth safe from mind control. Zara flew missions to rescue others who had been forgotten, but Marcus, he would sometimes sit by the ocean and stare at the sky. He knew Eli was still out there, maybe not in body, but in energy. The core had changed him, connected him to something bigger. Then, one evening, something strange happened. The moon glowed. Brighter than usual, a beam of light shot out from its dark side. For just a few seconds, a faint shape appeared. A city floating above the moon's surface, silent, silver, alive. Marcus stood and whispered, "Eli." No answer came, just silence and stars. But deep inside, he felt something, a calm warmth. A message without words. The war was over, but the story wasn't. The end